A lot of the SaaS companies that usually come on this pod, the pandemic has been actually an amplifier in a lot of cases. We're going to do more on our computers, more online. And now with the restaurants and how Toast is related to the restaurants, maybe my first thought is, oh, this is not good. I mean, I see restaurants shutting down, and I see like some of my favorite ones in LA had to close or whatever. Like, can you talk us through what happened with the company and the pandemic and how it affected everybody?
Yeah, it was a massive outcome. And again, Toast, we service restaurants of all sizes.
Yeah.
Our sweet spot is the SMBs, right? The locally owned, the 1 to 5 locations here. And we have restaurants in pretty much every city in the entire country here, all around. And so as the restaurant industry goes, so does Toast. So if the restaurant industry is profitable, so is Toast. And that deep relationship provides a lot of sort of positive reinforcement, positive incentives for us to do the right thing and support customers the right way here. And so when the pandemic started, there was such, if we think back to like 2 years ago, nobody knew what was going on here. It's such a terrifying time. And we watched a Toast where overnight, 80% of our business evaporated. Restaurants just shut down right up, and people locked in their homes. We were scared. We didn't know what was going on. And, again, we were directly connected to that, and we really struggled. We held on the best we could for about a month or two. We cut bonuses, we cut hiring, we cut back our expenses, sent everybody home. But when as a parent, this was not a 4-week thing. The company made the really painful decision to lay off half the company.
Yeah.
It was gut wrenching. I mean, I think I was not involved in those conversations. It was just like the decisions had to be made around, how are we going to emerge from this with a stable, growing company again? One of the ways we went through this is deciding if restaurants are going to recover through this, what are they going to need to recover? What's going to help them do this? And we really lasered in on digital ordering and delivery. Previously Toast was built on relationships in terms of with a customer. So a new customer signs up, they do on-site training, they do on-site configuration, installation, follow-on visits, and that sort of high-touch interaction we couldn't support anymore post layoffs,
Right.
right? I mean, every group at Toast got impacted. Engineering was hit really hard. Every
Jeez.
group,
Yeah.
every group was, no group was spared. And those services that we provided, like we just couldn't do anymore. So we said, well, how are we going to still give this warm, toasty feeling to restaurants? And that's when we really started investing in this self-service, really understand what's happening, automate a lot of things that we just didn't need someone to be doing anymore in this setup. We dropped SaaS fees. We gave away a lot of our product for, in some cases, up to a year. We launched a product called Toast Now. So Toast is a very hardware company too. So hardware and then the software layered on. And so we do all the hardware in restaurants. But with the pandemic, we launched a software only product called Toast Now. So restaurants could just use an iPad or whatever tablet they had kicking around and get a full online ordering presence linked up really quickly. And so we just put these things out in the market, and business started to recover. The pandemic was received by different parts of the country very differently.
Yeah.
So some areas kept locked down longer and more mandates, other parts opened up quicker. And so you saw this very uneven recovery. But across the board, we made a number of good decisions, and we were able to sustain a lot of businesses through this. There were community food kitchens that stood up that were basically built using our technology. So farmers had trouble getting to farmers markets. So they had an iPad, they took our software, and they set up like a meal delivery program using our software.
Nice.
And morale was of course really hard through this, but as we connected to our community and saw these ways that folks are being resilient, it in turn made us more resilient. And then we kept at it here, and here we are 2 years later, still continuing to innovate and adapt.